like that? Are you pressed for time? Put you on my mind. Come a little closer like that. Staying up all night, throwing drinks back. Blue eyes smiling while you're cursing. I admit it's working.
So, my birth story. Let me put a disclaimer out there and say this is my first time giving birth. So, whatever information I'm putting out there, it might not be as authentic as, you know, the people that are discussing it, like the doctors or the nurses. I'm just going to share my birth experience and what I went through, and hopefully it helps someone out there. So, let's get started. Now, the first thing you need to understand is for me to have an elective C-section, I came about this decision because of what I experienced during my pregnancy. If you've watched my other videos talking about my first trimester and what I experienced, as well as my sepsis story, you would know that I had a very difficult pregnancy. So I had to make a decision where I wanted to have control of my birth, and an elective C-section was the decision I had made. What an elective C-section is you picking the time and the day of when you want to give birth to your child, which is what I did. I didn't wait up until 40 weeks to have my kid. I had her at 36 weeks. I'm going to tell you why. In my third trimester, after my sepsis, I had continuous contractions up until birth. What I mean by continuous contractions was every single day I would have back-to-back contractions between maybe 2 contractions, so about maybe 8 or 9 contractions. It would get to the point where I had to go into the hospital. So my third trimester, I was constantly going to the hospital every week. In fact, this is how my husband describes it. He's like, I don't remember a weekend where we didn't spend the weekend in hospital. That's how bad it got. So from 29 weeks, 30 weeks, 31, 32, 33, up until 35 weeks, I was back to back in the hospital. I think the only time I was in the hospital was the Easter weekend. At this point, my doctor had already advised us to try and see how we could manage up until 36 weeks. Why he said that was because the Nigerian hospital, the Nigerian medical system doesn't really have the provision to take care of kids that are under 32 weeks. He had told me that, look, we're gonna manage to get you to 34 weeks. If by 34 weeks this child wants to come out, we'll bring her out. If you're still contracting by 34 weeks, we're going to bring her out. But he told me that, look, if you can get to 36 weeks and you want her out by 36 weeks, we'll bring her out. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Let's go with that. So we had managed my pregnancy. I'm using manage because it was a tough journey. We had managed my pregnancy up to 36 weeks. And I was on contraction meds. I don't remember the name of the medication I was on, but it's a red pill that I had to take morning and night to subdue my contractions. I was on Gaviscon for my heartburn because it was really, really bad. I couldn't have a meal without taking the medicine. And by 36 weeks, we had decided on a day. I had chosen a Friday morning to have her. May 7th was the day. So on Thursday, I had decided, you know what, I've packed, I'm ready to go. And my husband had gone on to plan a surprise maternity shoot for me. Because I had such a tedious and traumatic pregnancy, I didn't feel the need or zeal or enthusiasm to have a maternity shoot. And he tried to encourage me to do it, but I was like, I'm not really interested. But he went behind my back and planned with some of our friends and got them to come over, set up balloons, and made sure that I had some sort of interesting maternity shoot.
3, 2, 1. Nobody's moving.
No, we love you, baby. Hey, sexy.
And that was fun. And after that, we packed up and we left for the hospital. While we were there, we bought some food because I had to eat before 10 p.m. They'd already told me to stop eating by 10 p.m. So I was quickly rushing all the food I could eat to keep my stomach filled. By 10 p.m., they told me, okay, you cannot eat, you cannot drink water, you are going to be like this until tomorrow. We got prepared. My husband slept beside me on his own bed in the room, and I just, was trying to sterilize the bottles and just trying to keep myself preoccupied. I also took my Gaviscon, yes, before I went to bed, to tell you how bad my heartburn was. And by 6 a.m. in the morning, no, by 5 a.m. in the morning, the nurses came in to wake me up. Oh, I forgot to mention that the nurses came by 10 to tell me to stop eating and to also shave me. So they will shave you to make sure that wherever they're trying to do their incision will be clean and clear. By 5 a.m. in the morning, they came to wake me up and told me I had to have my bath. And I did that. I had my bath. I was getting everything ready. I had to bring out the baby's clothes for them to dress her up with. The nurse came to pick out her clothes, her blanket, her gloves, stuff that she needed for, when she came out, her diaper and stuff like that. So they brought everything out, her soap and everything they used to clean her. And they asked for olive oil. I didn't know what olive oil was for, but I'll tell you what it was for. I'll explain what it was for. So after everything, the nurse came in and said, okay, we're gonna be ready. The anesthesiologist came in. Sorry, I can't pronounce this word. I'll say it very slow. The anesthesiologist, yes, came in to discuss what the procedure would be. She came in to explain what type of anesthesia I would be using. I was using the spinal anesthesia as against the epidural. She explained that that was the safest measure as opposed to general anesthesia. So after the anesthesiologist leaves, my mom and my brother surprised me and came to, be with me, my husband, and we prayed. And after that, the nurse comes in and she's like, we're ready. Tells me to take off my bra, my pants, wears the gown for me, the maternity gown for me. Now, before we get to the theater, they give me a document to sign. This is a norm for most hospitals. They make you sign a document like that to make sure that they're not liable for anything that happens to you in the theater. So after that, they walk me to the theater. I sit on the theater bed and they are trying to put in the IV bag. And well, because I had been to the hospital so many times, they struggled to get an actual vein to put my IV bag in, and this takes about like 30 minutes. Now it was time for the anesthesiologist to put in the spinal anesthesia. She tells me I have two options. I either sit in front. I'm trying to describe this because it was very, very scary. I had too many stories about this. She told me to either lean forward on the bed or then sit to the side and then tell the nurse to lean forward and hold me. So I had to hug the nurse. I chose the latter, actually. So let me describe what I actually did. I sat on the side of the bed and the nurse came and hugged me and I hugged her back, and I had to lean forward. So I was literally hugging her. I don't know how to describe it, but I was literally hugging her and trying to, lean forward at the same time. And then the anesthesiologist told me not to move as she was injecting, I think, an IV into my spine. So she did that first, and then she slowly puts in the spinal anesthesia in my spine. And then immediately she was done, it was like maybe like a minute, pulled it out. They already told me to lie down and they strapped me in. I literally was like this, like they strapped me in and they were like, okay, let's start, the process. And after that, the doctors come in and they're putting this, huge cloth in front of me, blocking me from seeing what they were doing to my belly. And then my actual gynecologist comes in, like wearing his gloves, and he's like, okay, let's get this thing going. And I'm like, okay. No problem. And then they wrap the blood pressure machine around my arm to keep track of my blood pressure and my heartbeat. And before they start, the anesthesiologist asked me, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. And then while she's asking me, the blood pressure machine is like beeping at the back. It's like, blood pressure too high, blood pressure too high, blood pressure. I'm like, okay, should I be worried? And she's like, calm down, calm down. I'm like, I'm calm. She's like, no, you're saying you're calm, but you're not calm because the machine is telling us your blood pressure is high. So the machine was literally telling them, look, sis is not calm. If she's not calm, we might have an issue. She's telling me to calm down, calm down. By this time, while she's talking to me, my doctor had already started to rip open my stomach. I didn't feel anything. I could feel tugging, but I couldn't feel anything else. And then I'm hearing them talking their, doctor talk, like vacuum, suction, and I'm hearing them doing all of that. And she's talking to me and looking over the cloth that they had used to block my view. And she's talking to me. And then, like, this is like, what, 2-3 minutes into the surgery, I'm hearing like, okay, hold her leg, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I feel this intense tugging. I couldn't feel anything. I'm saying this because I don't want to startle anyone. I feel this intense tugging, and they're tugging and they're pulling and they're pulling and they're pulling, like moving me. Like my body was literally moving like side to side to side to side. And then they pull the baby out, and then I'm like hearing like silence, and then I hear her cry, and the nurses at the back are like clapping, and then he's like, congratulations, congratulations, your baby's here. And then he hands the baby over to the pediatrician. I didn't mention there was an out-call pediatrician, or rather an on-call pediatrician already waiting. So the pediatrician takes the baby from him, and he now walks to a table or a bassinet made for the newborn. They're trying to now sort out my belly and my situation, and I'm just like this, like I'm looking at the baby on like the right side. Yeah, just the right side. Yeah, I'm looking at the baby on the right side, and I'm looking at her, and I'm seeing her, and they're trying to clean her up. And this is what they now use the olive oil for. They put the olive oil on cotton wool or a gauze. That's what it's pronounced or called. They put it on that, and then they start to clean her body. So I'm looking at her, and the anesthesiologist is looking at me, and she sees me crying, and she's like, "You're crying?" I'm like, "Yes, I actually just gave birth." And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It doesn't feel real. Like, I'm someone's mother." My gynecologist is still trying to patch me up and everything, but my mind is never focused on what the gynecologist is even doing to me. I'm just looking at my baby. So once they're done, they put this huge plaster on my belly, and they cover up the stitch where they had opened me up. After that, they move me onto a wheelchair, and they take me to my room. By this time, they'd already taken the baby to meet my mom and my husband, so they were pretty excited. I came in, I was all drowsy and I was tired, and then they were like, congratulations. As soon as they put me on the bed, I didn't even know they had even put a catheter in me. If you don't know what a catheter is what they put into your urethra, into your pee hole, basically, for it to collect urine so that you don't have to go to the bathroom. So they had put this before the surgery even happened. I didn't even know. But they had now carried me, they moved me from the wheelchair to my bed, and then tied the catheter to the bed. So I basically was not allowed to leave my bed for the entire day. Now after they put me on the bed, I start to regain some sort of consciousness, and I'm looking at them carrying the baby, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's this, she's that." I'm like, thank you. They're asking me if I can talk. I couldn't really talk because as I was trying to talk, the pressure from talking, I didn't even know this was a thing. The pressure from talking was affecting the stitch. It hurt like hell. Like, I was like, okay, you know what? Only ask me questions when I need to talk. Like, don't ask me unnecessary questions. My mom was trying to figure out if I was okay. Now, an hour after I leave the theater, the anesthesia starts to wear off, or the painkiller starts to wear off, and I start to feel this intense pain. I can't even describe this pain, but let me explain the pain. I start to feel this intense pain on my stomach. Like, it feels like I had just ripped open my stomach. I didn't feel the pain because of the anesthesia and theater and the painkiller, but now it was wearing off and I was in incredible pain. I gave birth around 7:51. This was 10 a.m. This pain was so bad, I had told them to call the nurses or the doctor to please come and give me another dose of painkillers. The nurse came and said, "I'm so sorry, you have to wait another 3 hours before we give you painkillers because you just had painkillers an hour ago." And I'm like, 3 hours? You're joking. I can't deal with this pain for another 3 hours. They're like, they don't know what else to tell me. I must deal with that pain for 3 hours. These were the most excruciating and traumatic 3 hours of my entire life. I have never felt so much pain in my entire life. I kept asking myself, what have I gone to put my body through? What did I just do to my body? Why did I do this? Why did I choose this experience? This is incredible pain. It gets so bad that when people are coming to ask me, oh, don't you want to see your baby? I'm like, I don't want to transfer this pain and anger I'm feeling and resentment towards this little girl. So don't bring her near me. Let me just deal with the pain first. They don't bring this painkiller till 3 p.m. guys. 3 p.m. So from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I was in excruciating pain. I didn't hold my child until 4 or 5 p.m. that day. 4 or 5 p.m. I gave birth by 7 a.m. I didn't hold on until 4 or 5 p.m. because I didn't want to transfer that pain. I wanted to feel calm before I decided to hold my child. But when I did, she was the most precious and gorgeous little girl I've ever come across. I cannot thank God for the blessing He gave me, which was this little girl. Definitely my pregnancy and my birth were very traumatic for me, but I couldn't have had it any other way. I am so grateful for the little girl that I have. I'm definitely going to introduce her soon to you guys, so be on the lookout for that video. But yes, this was my birth journey. I hope it was very educative to you guys, but it wasn't for me. It was very traumatic. I'm laughing now, but what I was going through during that period was Thank you for watching my video. If you have any comments, please leave the comments down below letting me know what you think about this. But thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and keep watching. Bye guys.